Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English, and in this video we shall have the discussion of the 4th semester BA Generic English 2023 examination question paper solution. So in this video we'll have the discussion of the solution of the 2023 examination with reference to the 4th semester BA Generic English and Bangalore City University. This video belongs to BCU. As usual, duration for the examination 2 hours 30 minutes, maximum marks 60. To begin with, the very first section we have here, literary section, which consists of 40 marks questions. Here, the 30 marks novella. Which novella do you have in your syllabus? There is a DWEEPA. DWEEPA novella you have. This for 30 marks, in the 2 poems plus 2 TED Talks, that is for 10 marks. Now, the novella's 30 marks questions are in the 2 sections here. 2 questions for 5 marks and 2 questions for 10 marks. 2 questions for 5 marks and 2 questions for 10 marks. So the 5 marks, 2 questions. Question number 1. Write a short note on Sita Parvata. There's a village named Hosamanhalli. To one side of this village, Sharavati river flows, and the other side is Sita Parvata. It's a hillock. It's not a mountain. Its back is rich and is rich with the forest lands, and its head is very bald. Means to say no vegetation, no no bushes, etc. During the times of the Ramayana, Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana had crossed the Sharavati and rested in a cave on the top of this hill. Second question, how did Beli die in the DWEEPA? The author in the book DWEEPA has mentioned many animals which play major role in the storyline. Ganapaya's cow named Beli, the tiger which kills Beli, and the Beli, that cow is killed by the tiger. The rain started after the 8th day, and the dark clouds cast their gloom, and the wind howled like one possessed. That's a 71 line, 71st line in the DWEEPA. Krishnaya was bored. He was bored and he could not ask Nagaveni to play games like Pagade and Channamanne. As the rain fell, he thought about Nagaveni and he could not be with her, being as a labor and also married now. He told that he would go back when the rain stops. Ganpaya up from his sleep commented on the rain and how the rains could continue when the forest in Malnadu was destroyed. The dam would become waste as the rains had become less comparatively. Krishnaya started to look up for Beli, the cow, as she had not come, while the other cattle had already come. As suggested by Ganpaya, he went to see up the hillock near the cave, the usual spot, the place of Beli. There he saw the cow covered in blood, and he could sense the presence of the tiger in the cave. He ran down the hill to say what he saw, and Ganpaya was terrified on hearing the news. He wondered if it would take long for the tiger to come to the cattle shade, then to the home, and as the water is now engulfing and marooning them. So this is how Beli was killed by the tiger near the cave. Third question, write a note on Dugaja. Who is Dugaja? The temple priest Dugaja is Ganpaya's father, who encourages some laborers to stay with them for a few months of monsoon. They have to survive alone for around 4 months, as the monsoon would cut off the village from the neighboring towns. Because the area will be cut off by the river during monsoon, he, Nagaveni, his wife, and his son Ganpaya, they were remained alone in the village. So only these 3 people, Dugaja, Nagaveni, and Ganpaya, they are alone in the village. Dugaja died of sickness during the 3rd phase of Aridhra rain, there's a season of rain, and Ganpaya did not inform anyone from outside because he saw the water was engulfing the hillock. So these were the 5 marks questions. Out of 3 questions, you need to opt only 2. Now we have 10 marks, 2 questions. So out of 3 10 marks questions, you need to opt here 2 questions. Sketch the character of Nagaveni in the novella DWEEPA. Nagaveni represents the most optimistic character in the novel. Although born in a city, she adapts to rural life after her marriage to Ganpaya. Although Nagaveni does not oppose her household's occupation, she nevertheless has a desire to live a life like the rest of the villagers, like practicing agriculture. She doesn't like. Nagaveni spends her time taking care of the house, collecting bamboos from the forest to weave baskets, and helping Heramba Hegde's family with the basic jobs. She convinces her husband in a vain to leave Sita Parvata with the rest of the villagers and to start a new life in Shimoga city. When her family refuses to move to the city, she retires to the life in the village and she accepts it as a fate. Nagaveni seeks optimism in all the circumstances, despite harsh reality. When only her family is left behind in the Sita Parvata, she expresses her desire to indulge in agriculture. Nagaveni is a woman of valor. When Krishna and Ganapaya has an argument and both refuse to go out and look out for Dugaja in the rain, it is Nagaveni who takes the boat alone to search for Dugaja. Krishna seems to mesmerize her as his experiences in the city brings hope in her mind. Nagaveni feels Krishna is someone with whom she can relate to, since she too was raised in a city. However, when she realizes that Krishna's presence is out, sorry, however, she realizes that Krishna's presence is obstructing her relationship with Ganpaya, she orders him to leave nonetheless. The courage in her is brought out in full capacity when she battles alone to protect her family from the flood and the tiger, while Ganpaya has given up on life. Although he has lost confidence, she boosts him by reminding of his own words to keep fighting no matter what. The last sequence in the novel, where she burns piles of wood and plays the drum to keep the tiger away, while her husband pretends to sleep, brings out the courage of a woman in its full potential. While the flood level decreases due to the opening of the gate, she is excited to inform this to her husband, but when her husband discredits her efforts in saving their lives, she is left dejected, disappointed. Thus, she lives in an island of loneliness internally and externally. The novel ends with a vachana by Akka Mahadevi, a Kannada saint poet of 12th century. This poem reflects the Nagavani's state of mind. A muddy pond behind, a muddled stream ahead. Tell me, what is the way out? A lake at the back and a noose in the front. Tell me, will there ever be peace? Grant me body beyond seeking and the bliss beyond coupling of coupling O Channa Mallikarjuna. So this is about Nagavani's character sketch for 10 marks. Next question. Describe the impact of Sharavati project in the novella DWEEPA. Here, I tried to give some mixed answer. It's quite lengthy, but very much suitable for the 10 marks question or any other question which is related to the Sharavati project. The novella DWEEPA follows the lives of Ganpaya, his wife Nagaveni, his father Dugaja, and the struggles of the village of Hosamanahalli as it faces the complete submersion due to the Sharavati hydroelectric project. The novella is set in the Malnad region of Karnataka. The village is bordered by the river Sharavati and Sita Parvata, a hillock which is covered with lush vegetation and a bald top. The Sthala Purana of Sita Parvata is that Rama, Sita, Lakshmana had crossed the Sharavati and rested in a cave on the top of this hill. That's a mythological importance. Hosamanahalli consists of 5 families, three three areca plantations, and 3 rice fields. 3 of the families are landlords, and the other 2 are bonded laborers. The children of the bonded laborers spend their entire lives with their masters to repay the loans taken by them. There is no way for those bonded in this manner to buy or earn the freedom. It depends on the masters to free them. As it is already suggested in the novella, when Nagaveni's father decides to give Krishnaya some land to set himself up uh, to set himself independently. Of the 3 landlords, Heremba Hegde and Parmeshwarappa are wealthy and own the bonded laborers, Baira and Halam of Hasaluru community, who worked their land. Ganpaya, the protagonist of the novel, is neither rich nor poor, does not own any bonded laborers, but hires paid hands when required on the farm. Despite not being wealthy, he is held with the same esteem as the other 2 landlords. The respect the landlord's command comes from the place and the role in the community and the caste position, a system unchanged for many generations. Everything changes with the Sharavati hydroelectric project. As with any dam project, land, large fields of land, including villages, agricultural land, common grazing lands or village commons, and the forest are submerged together with the lifestyles, values, and culture and memories. The government arranges to compensate the displaced landlords with the land, but only those who bribe the officers are given the land elsewhere. The bonded laborers have no land, so they are not covered by the compensation schemes, and their future is uncertain, especially since they are expected to move with their masters. Given Ganapaya is not wealthy enough to bribe the submersion officer, his application is lost. He decides to stay back with his wife and father and face the consequences of the change in the landscape, thanks to the urban centric notions of modernization. The novella also draws the reader's attention to the government apathy and the corruption. The officers use different ways to confuse the simple village folk and cheat them, and the need for bribes to move the files of the compensation are the only open secret. As much, so much so that Heramba Hegde even tells Ganpaya to pay a few rupees as a bribe to retrieve his file, which the officers say is lost. This starts a various cycle. Ganpaya has no money for a bribe, so his file is lost. He decides he won't leave his home unless he's certain for the compensation amount. The compensation amount cannot be ascertained without the file, so Ganpaya and his family remain in the village despite the rising water levels. In anticipation of the transplanting season in the monsoon, the fact that the hillock will be cut off, Dugaja, Ganpaya's father, encourages Ganpaya to get some laborers to stay with them for a few months of monsoon when the area is cut off by the river. On an expedition to the nearby town to find labor and stock up for the provisions before the rains, Nagaveni visits a family where Krishnaya, a bonded labor in her father's house, offers to live with them for the monsoon. Krishnaya is older than Nagaveni. Both of them grew together and have the close bonding. As Krishnaya joins them in Hosamanahalli, tensions rise as the water level rises. There is a scarcity of labor in the town. Dugaja passes away. Ganpaya feels insecure about the bond and the growing comfort and the fondness his wife shares with the bonded laborers, Krishnaya. So Nagavani and Krishnaya, they are getting very much closer to each other. That was the one tension Ganpaya was facing. Following a clash Ganpaya has with Krishnaya, where Ganpaya lays out his insecurities and Krishnaya dismisses them, saying he and Nagaveni are siblings. They are like siblings, and the 2 men grow amicable with each other while Nagaveni slips into the world of silence. She does not open her mouth. A cabin fever brews one night, and the dam of unsaid passion between Krishna and Nagaveni is breached, and the two of them are both horrified and satiated by the night of the passion. As the love triangle between Ganpaya and Nagaveni and Krishnaya gets deeper and more complex, each of the characters gets more isolated and marooned from the others. Krishnaya decides to leave the next morning as he cannot face Ganpaya for breaking his trust, nor Nagaveni for plotting with her. He's aware that he should. He's aware that this incident will definitely come to light, and he will be held solely less responsible, even though she initiated the encounter. As Krishna attempts to swim across the swollen Sharavati, Nagaveni enters the river to stop him. The two of them disappear into the raging water. Ganpaya watched them, and he clearly overheard their screams. In a state of shock from distance, Ganpaya returns to his house only to be greeted by the tiger that has been lurking through the narrative, sitting at his doorway. The novel ends with the tiger who pounced on Ganpaya. So that is the effect of Sharavati project. Second question we have here, Ganpaya suffered more by other factor than the Sharavati project. So I'm not going to read the answer. The answer is quite similar to the previous one. You can pause the video. I'll just give you a limelight. Here, Ganpaya has also suffered a lot because of Krishnaya and because of Krishnaya and his wife Nagaveni's relationship. And he also suffered a lot because his father also died and he has no backbone to support him. He remained alone to face the rising water. And also, as I mentioned here, so again, I'm going to say the same thing. His father died, and he had to face the whole challenges, his challenges. So this is how we can say his sufferings more than the Sharavati project. So you can pause the video and you can go through it. So these were the 10 marks questions we are here for the from the novella DWEEPA. Now we have, so this is how 2 marks, 5 marks, 2 questions, 10 marks, 2 questions. Now we have here 2 questions from the TED Talk and from the poetry. So you need to attempt here one from poetry, one from TED Talk compulsorily. Question number 1, bring out the difference in the appearance and action between the young and the old oyster. Walrus and Carpenter come across some oysters. The walrus encourages the shellfish to join them on the walk, insisting them that it will be very enjoyable stroll filled with enjoyable conversation along with the salty beach. He claims that they don't have room for more than 4 oysters. He said that only 4 oysters can come, not many, because he and Carpenter, they have already decided that they are going to be with them. The two, the oldest oyster in the oyster bed remains silent while looking back at the walrus, and he then winks and shakes his head sadly, declining the invitation. The oldest one says he won't come. However, the 4 younger oysters eagerly scurry forward to join them. They were very much eager to join them. They have freshened up for the occasion, tidying their coats, cleaning their faces and shoes, despite the fact that they won't have feet. Another group of oysters started to join. So then a whole bunch of oysters starts rushing forth, skipping through the foamy surf while scurrying out of the ocean. After the group continues on for about a mile, the walrus and the carpenter, they decide to rest on a low rock, leaving the oysters to line up in front of them. They said they will stop at the rock and all of you should be in the lineup. The walrus suggests they discuss a series of nonsensical topics. Everything from shoes to the wax used to seal letters to vegetables and the monarchs. He wonders why the ocean is boiling and if pigs have wings. But the oysters are not ready to talk and request a brief rest. They say, we want to rest, take a rest. since most of them are exhausted from the walk and need to catch their breath. The carpenter assures the oysters that they are in no rush and they can wait, for which the oysters are grateful to the carpenter. The walrus then start listing items they require for meal, including some bread, pepper, and vinegar, all things that go very well with the oysters. He asks the oysters if they are ready to eat. The oysters fearing that they fearing that they might be on the menu. The oysters, they got the idea that okay, they might also be eaten, so they protest that this would be a very rude thing to do. But Walrus brushes up their concern by pointing out the beauty of the night. Walrus starts to say about the beauty of the night. The Walrus declares how much he has enjoyed the oyster's company. The carpenter, meanwhile, just rudely asked him to cut another slice of bread, frustrated that he has already had to ask them multiple times. The walrus admits that he feels some regret for tricking the oysters like this, especially since they made them scurry so far and fast along with the beach. But the carpenter just criticizes the amount of butter on the bread. The walrus insists that he feels deeply for the unfortunate oysters and weeps while selecting the juiciest oyster. In fact, he cries so much that he has to hold his handkerchief on his face. The carpenter calls out to the oysters, declaring that they have had a nice time and better start scurrying back home. Of course, no one answers him, given that he and the walrus have eaten all their companions, all the oysters. Second question from the TED Talk: discuss the golden circle as explained by the Simon Oliver Sinek. In this TED Talk, where in the TED Talk where the leadership needs action, Simon Sinek explores his concept of golden circle, which he calls as the naturally occurring pattern, which is based on the biology of human decision. He says why we are inspired by some people, leaders, messages, and the organizations over the others. That is the base of this concept. The golden circle is similar to a target with the three rings, starting with the outer ring, leading to the center ring, and the sections are labeled as what, how, and why. The most common and the comfortable place for the leaders to speak to is what, as in what the organization does. Many leaders are also comfortable with speaking to how they do what they do, but many of them do not speak to why. So Sinek suggests that why is the most transformational and the powerful place to speak to, as it is the place of purpose and passion. So WHY should become more importance. Sinek further explains that the golden circle corresponds to the biology of human brain. The outer layer of the brain, the what, is represented in the Homo sapien brain, the place of rational thought, analytical data, and language. The inner circle of the brain, the why and how, relates to the limbic portion of the brain where feelings such as trust and loyalty are generated. It is also the place of decision making, and especially those that come from the gut. Third question, the last question for the 5 marks. Why does Sparsh call himself as an Iron Man? Sparsh was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, a rare, incurable genetic disorder that causes a person's bones to be extremely fragile. So he can be called as Mr. Glass. During his birth, he had over 35 fractures and he was taken immediately to the ICU. And these were the sounds that used to resonate throughout the hospital, those desperately clinging onto his life. The doctors gave him the very bleak prognosis that he would live only for a day or two. But due to God's grace and the support of his parents and their never say die attitude, he survived. He had 130 fractures in the first 13 years of his life and many more to happen in the future. He also had multiple screws in the rods placed in his body. Thus, he calls himself as an Iron Man in his TED talk, impossible to I am possible. Excuse me. So this is how we have discussed here 30 marks questions from the novella Dweepa and 10 marks questions from the TED Talks and the two poems. Now we totally 40 marks we have discussed so far. Now we have 20 marks questions from the grammar section. So these 60 marks questions which we are discussing here, we are discussing with reference to the textbook, and my answers are only the sample answers, the specimen answers. For more reference in detail, please do watch my videos, and the links are in the description box. Please do go through the textbook also. Now, Section 4, attempt any questions from the following questions for 1 mark. So here we have a question here. You need to prepare an ad copy, an advertisement for the electric car. So again, this is similar to the brochure, this is similar to the flyer. So you need to design a kind of an advertisement for the topic like electrical car. So you need to draw in the examination and you need to give some sound wordings which are very much appealing. So it's an advertisement for the electric car with some caption. That's for 5 marks. In option to this question, you have a narration. You have a travelogue. Narrate your trip to a historical place. This question is from the topic travel writing. So when you're talking about any place, you have to select a place. You have to talk about the historical significance of the place, which are the important places you had visited, and how was your experience? What's your feedback? And how do you promote it? So that comes under travel writing. So writing an ad to the topic or writing a travel writing, this is a choice you have here for the 5 marks. Next questions you have here, email writing. So you will be given here 3 emails. You need to opt here one email. You need to opt here one email. And this is the most important question. 10 marks questions. This is how here 2 emails, 10 marks. So I already done the questions on emails. You can check your description box. You'll get the email writing questions with the sample. So here you have an email question. Write an email to the XYZ digital company Bangalore to sponsor state level sports festival organized by the Residents Association of your locality. So you can pause the video, you can go through the sample email. In the email, you need to write here to address means to say the to whom the receiver's email address, then subject, then dear sir madam, then the answer, then with regards, best regards, with best wishes, then the writer's name, writer's position, or the designation, and any contact number. So you can pause the video and you can read the answer. Second email, write an email of acknowledgement on receiving a laptop by courier. So this is acknowledgement email. So again, you can pause the video to subject, dear sir, best regard, and the name of the email writer, email sender. Third email, write an email to your principal to help you to get a hostel seat, to get you the hostel seat. So you can say here again to, then request for assistance in securing a hostel seat, respected sir. Then you can talk about why the hostel is very important. How is it going to help you in the academic growth and your personal growth for your well-being. And best regards, Sushila, first semester BCom. So like this, you had here first question, 5 marks ad writing or travel writing, 5 marks. Then the 10 marks you have for the email. Email is for 10 marks. Now you have 5 marks question from the social media content writing. Last question of your question paper. Write a short profile of a leader you like. You have to write a profile of a leader. So when you write a profile of leader, so in this very imaginative question, very anonymous question you have to write here. You need to by heart remember some great personalities Profile. So when you write a person's profile, you talk about the person's name, qualification, experience in the particular field, and why the person is so famous, right? So I thought to write about Nelson Mandela, so you can go through the answer. So again, you need to remember some person's profiles, either sports person, teaching profession, right? Sports person, maybe Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, or any of the film actor, film actress. So 3 4 profiles you have to keep in the mind. Then write an article on the importance of sports. This question is again very on-spot preparation. You have to write an article. When you're writing an article, you need to remember 3 things in your mind. One is the topic, one is the title, topic sentence. The very first 2 3 lines should reflect what are you going to write about, then the content, and then the conclusion. So these are the only the sample answer on your screen here. So this is how you have here 2 questions in the last segment. One question is here: profile writing from the social media content writing, profile writing, or article writing for 5 marks. So this is a blueprint of a question paper. Section 1, you have here from the Novella DWEEPA, you have 5 marks, 2 questions, 10 marks, 2 questions. Then you have 2 questions from the poem and the TED Talks. So the 40 marks question paper. But from here, then afterwards you have technical writing, you have one ad writing, travel writing 5 marks, with an option, 2 questions from the email writing. Out of 3 emails, you need to opt your 2 emails. Then social media content writing. Here you have profile writing or the article writing. So this is how I have tried to solve the question paper of the 2023 examination of the 4th semester BA, 4th semester BA under Bangalore City University, BCU. So friends, if you like this video, subscribe it, like it, comment it, and also look into the description box where you will get all the videos, all the contents, all the videos links. I've done the videos on DWEEPA, 2 poems, 2 TED Talks, and all the important sections of your grammar. So all the videos links you can easily see in the description box. Thank you so much for watching this video. I wish you good luck for the forthcoming examination. Thanks a lot. Stay tuned with Mukesh English.